Hi, everybody. A couple of weeks ago, I went into Hobby Lobby for some supplies for um, a design we were working on. And I always check those little displays that they have just shortly after you walk past the checkout lines there. They have these multiple displays there, they change them all the time. They have like different items on them that kind of go together. There'll be chicken stuff on one or Valentine's Day stuff on another, but they always have really cute things there. And that's where I found this ice cream mug rug. Isn't it adorable? I have a collection of mug rugs. I mean, mugs that I collect. I don't know why. I just think they're so cute. And I'm not a heavy coffee drinker. I do like tea, hot tea. But I have this collection of mugs, and I absolutely love creating mug rugs to go with them. So I came back home and it inspired us to do this. What's the scoop mug rug? This is for a 5x7 hoop. And then we did another one, the two most popular sizes for a 6x10 hoop. It is applique style on the ice cream. So you can use whatever fabric you like the best there. Chocolate happens to be my favorite ice cream, so it's on top with the biggest scoop. Anyway, it's really cute. It's really fun. If you've never stitched out a mug rug before, I'm going to take you through it all the way through it step by step. When you purchase this design, you do get all the machine formats and you get our instructions that you can print out or download to your tablet and pull up there or simply pull up on your computer monitor. You'll have a list of pieces of fabric and whatever you need for the 5x7 and again for the 6x10, and it'll tell you exactly what size you need for each piece and what you do need. We have used warm and natural batting on the inside. Let me pull one up here. On the inside of our mug rugs, you could probably use something else if you wanted, maybe a thicker felt or something like that. But we like the warm and natural batting. It's soft. It's, just easy. And other than that, you need fabric for the background, and then 3 small pieces of fabric for the ice cream. And you'll need some scissors to be able to trim applique. My favorite are Kai 5-inch double curved blunt tip scissors, and I'll make sure to show you that in the video. The blunt tip, when you're cutting around fabric and applique, doesn't get caught in the fabric underneath. So you can really kind of glide through, and it cuts really close to the edge of the fabric that you're trimming, right next to the stitching, and it just makes applique really neat. You won't see those little frayed edges of fabric if you've not cut close enough. I find them really easy. In fact, let me grab them right here. They're right next to one of my machines and show them to you. See how they're double curved? So they're easy to use in the hoop. Let me grab this back here and show this to you too. They're easy to use when you're trimming in the hoop because they have that little scoop and it goes down like that. Easy to use. And like I said, they're a blunt tip, so it's not going to catch in the fabric underneath. Anyway, I know I went off on a scissor tangent there, but it happens to be my favorite. Okay, so the instructions also show you step by step with photos, which all of our instructions do with our in the hoop design. So you'll be able to do this from the instructions, but if you prefer a video, we're going to go ahead and make a video. Some parts of the video will be sped up. And that way you don't have to sit through the whole stitch out. I tend to stitch out my designs at 600 stitches per minute. We do a lot of freestanding lace here, so I kind of leave the machine set on that. And you'll see I have freestanding lace earrings here. It's summertime. I have Jonathan's little freestanding lace dolphin earrings on today because they happen to match my denim shirt. And it's summer, it's beach time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started and we'll stitch this out and you'll see how easy it is. See you in a few. Okay, let's take a quick look at the fabric and the pieces that we need to make this mug rug. You need fabric for the top, batting, all 3 pieces of ice cream, and the 2 folded pieces for the back. The PDF instructions included will let you know the exact sizes that you need for all of these pieces depending on the size mug rug that you will be making. Okay, so now we've loaded the hoop, which has cutaway stabilizer in it, onto the machine, and it is going to stitch out a placement line for the batting. So I like to use thread colors that I can see really well. For things like this, you don't have to, but it's just my preference. So it's just a rectangle that the piece of batting that you cut out according to the directions for the size is going to fit right inside that placement line. So you just grab the batting, and for videoing sake, I did everything on the machine, so just pull the hoop out and do all these things while I was on the machine. But normally, if I'm working and just stitching stuff, I actually like to take the hoop off of the machine to trim appliques or add fabric pieces like this. I just find it easier and quicker to do it off the machine on a little table near the machine or on my cutting table. So then you're going to take the fabric for the top of the mug rug and you're going to place it right side up, centered over that batting. And then it's going to stitch a tack down stitch for the fabric and batting so that it stays in place. It's just going to go all the way around just like it did before. Be careful if you stick your hands in the hoop like I just did. You can also use tape at the top and bottom of that piece of fabric to make sure it stays in place, which is a good idea. I like to use 3M transport tape. It's a medical tape for anything that I'm doing in the hoop like this. Again, you could have stitched that with a color thread that actually matches the fabric. I did it here in a darker color so that you could see it. Now we're going to swap the thread over to a thread that matches the fabric because it's going to do the quilting stitches. You can use something like sulky invisible thread if you want to here. I'm going to use a thread color that's pretty close to the color of the fabric that I'm using on this part. And it's going to stitch the quilting stitches in the background. And I am going to speed up the video while those quilting stitches are going down there, just so that we don't have to wait the few minutes that it actually takes to stitch it out. So let's go ahead and speed this up while those quilting stitches are going down. Of course, you can speed up your machine if you want. I kind of just leave it set at 600 all the time. And as you can see, you can kind of see those. I think the thread is just a shade darker than the fabric there. If you use the invisible thread, it actually just kind of blends right in there. And the quilting stitches are not as visible. But sometimes they look cute in the background too. So your choice. You could even use a thread color that is completely different than the background. All right, so those quilting stitches are almost done. And I'm going to change to a darker thread color to do the applique pieces. Again, just so you can see what I'm doing here. If you want, you can use thread colors that are the same color as the 3 pieces of ice cream that are going to go down. Or you can do like I'm doing. The satin edging on each piece is going to cover this up anyway. So I'm just going to stitch it all in brown so that you guys can see what's happening here. So it's going to stitch a placement stitch for the bottom scoop of ice cream. In my case, I used pink at the bottom. And then we're going to just slide that hoop out a little and center the fabric that we cut for the bottom scoop of ice cream right on top of that. You can tape it on the edges to make sure it stays in place. I do like to iron and starch all my pieces of fabric when I'm doing in the hoop projects like this. I find it actually, if I didn't want to use tape in this part at all, I probably wouldn't have to. But if you don't, keep an eye on that fabric that it doesn't move. So it's just going to tack it down. And then I'm going to pull the hoop out a little bit again. And I am going to use those wonderful Kai double curved scissors to trim the excess fabric from around that piece of the bottom part of the ice cream. And I did speed this up a little bit. I don't trim that fast. But it's really easy. The scissors is small, and it's easy to get in all those little spaces and right up close to the stitching like that. Just be careful you don't cut through it. And then we're going to put it back on, and it is going to stitch the placement line for the middle ice cream. In my case, I used white fabric for vanilla. Applique, when you do applique, it saves a lot of stitching time because that part there could all be filled with stitching, but I kind of like using applique. Okay, so you just center the next piece of fabric for your middle scoop of ice cream, and I'm going to tape that in place. Again, that tape that I'm using right there is 3M transport tape. It's a medical tape. I use the same two pieces all through this. It comes off easily. If your machine stitches through it, it's fine. It kind of perforates it a little bit so it doesn't bother the needle or gum it up or anything. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to pull the hoop out a little bit and trim around. And if it's inconvenient to trim by the machine like that, by all means, just take the hoop over to your cutting table or whatever area you have that you can place it down flat and trim while it's all in the hoop like that. Okay, last applique piece is the ice cream on top. I put my favorite color, my favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate, so I put that on top of my mug rug because I would want the biggest scoop to be chocolate. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Okay, one more time. We're going to put the little piece of brown fabric down, tape it in place, and let it stitch the next step, which will be the tack down for the top scoop of ice cream. And these are the only 3 pieces on this mug rug that are applique pieces like this. So after you're done with trimming this one, then the rest is all stitching, so you won't have to do this anymore. We like to get all the applique pieces down first and then go ahead and stitch everything. Do you see how nice and close that these little scissors trim? And I don't work for Kai. I just discovered them a long time ago when I was at an event with Angela Wolf, and she showed them to us. And I have been using Kai scissors ever since. I really like them. All right, so we're going to speed up all this next part because it's going to stitch out the cone. And that's going to take a little bit, so I sped up the video here. And after it stitches the cone, it's going to stitch out some little waffle lines on the cone and then all the lettering. So we'll let that all stitch out. I actually chose a thread color for the cone that kind of matched the coffee mug that I found at Hobby Lobby. So I wanted it to match. I kind of like to give mug rugs and mugs with some kind of treat. In this case, it could be a gift certificate to a local ice cream shop, or it can be a pint of their favorite ice cream. But I call these happy gifts, where you just give someone a gift to cheer them up for no reason. It's not their birthday or Christmas or anything. You just have a friend or a family member that needs a little bit of cheering up. I find that these mug rugs, along with a mug and some sort of treat, make such a cute little gift. It always puts a smile on someone's face. So use your imagination. You could put sprinkles in the mug, maybe a little container of sprinkles for their ice cream, if you don't want to do a gift certificate or a pint of ice cream, or any other toppings that they might enjoy on ice cream. But this is a cute summertime gift that you can make for someone special in your life. All right, so there's the ice cream in the cone, and now we're going to go ahead and stitch out the lettering. I used thread that matched the ice cream for my lettering. That's totally up to you. You can use anything you want there. This is always part of the design that I like to grab a snack while it's stitching out. Some of these sections take a little bit longer than others, like the cone and this lettering. You'll just have to come back and change the thread colors in between. But you usually have, a few minutes there. You can go grab a snack or hot cup of tea or maybe a bowl of ice cream while you're watching this stitch out. Don't ever walk too far away from your machine, because usually that's when they start messing up. So stay where you can keep an eye on it. I'm using the Brother Luminaire here, and it actually has a little app with it that I can tell if the machine's still running and stitching, and it kind of keeps an eye on it, from the app on my phone. And I've also used on one of my other machines here, my commercial machine, sometimes I'll put a baby monitor on it if I need to be in another room for a while. I'll put a baby monitor on it that I can watch it and make sure it's not messing up while I'm sidetracked doing something else. All right, so we're almost done. Just a couple more letters to stitch there. Okay, so now we're going to have the two pieces of fabric left that you've folded in half and ironed flat. And we're going to put that folded end towards the center of the hoop. So the raw edges will go on the outside of the hoop, at the top and the bottom like this. And the folded edges will go towards the center. So if you kind of line up those raw edges, if you cut everything according to the size in the instructions, see there, I have that other folded edge there. They're going to overlap a little bit in the center, which is what we want. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put tape where it overlaps, just so that the foot does not get caught on where those fabrics overlap right there. I'm also going to put tape on the top and the bottom, just to make sure everything stays in place while we're stitching the very last step. Okay, so we'll put it back on, and it will stitch around the outside twice, just to make sure that stitch is nice and tight, and when you're turning it inside out, it won't, come loose or anything. The stitches will be nice and tight. And that's the last thing that we have to do on the machine. So we're almost done. Turn your iron on and get it preheating, because we're ready to take it over to the cutting table and get started on that. Okay, so we're going to remove the tape. From the middle and the ends. And most of the time, like I mentioned once before, you can reuse these little pieces of tape. The tape dispenser that I have with my transport tape in it like that, I keep a bunch of little pieces just stuck to the side of it that are reusable, because you can reuse them several times before they have too much fabric stuck to them. So we're going to remove everything from the hoop now. And we're going to flip it over to the other side, and we are going to trim away the excess stabilizer just to reduce some of the bulk in the edges. Be careful that you don't cut through that the last line of stitching there. You don't want to cut through it. You just want to trim right up against it. Get rid of all that. It'll reduce the bulk in the sides and the corners of your little mug rug. So then we're going to trim away some of the excess fabric. I leave anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. I'm not measuring it or anything. It's going on the inside, so no one's going to see that anyway. You can cut this with a ruler and a rotary cutter if you want. But like I said, no one's going to see that, so it doesn't matter if it's really neat or not. And now I'm going to trim the corners on a diagonal, not too close to that stitching because we don't want to cut through it. But clipping the corners like that is going to enable your corners to be nice and square. If you don't do that, they might get this kind of rounded look because it's got, fabric crunched up in it like that. So just turn it right side out through the opening in the back. And then you're going to need some sort of tool. I mean, you can just use a bamboo skewer if you want, just to poke out those corners. I have an RNK turning tool somewhere in here, but Jonathan keeps stealing it from me. He loves it. So I forgot what this one is called, but I think it's a clover tool, some kind of clover tool, but it works great for that also. Now we're going to give it a quick press. We'll start with the back, and we'll press it, and it'll flatten the edges. I love to iron everything. I iron all the pieces and starch them before we even start on an in the hoop project too. I just find it comes out so nice and neat. And then if you want to close up the back, just grab some fusible tape there and just tear it off to where it's enough for whatever size you need. Tuck it inside. and give it another quick press to set that fusible tape there. And then your little mug rug is all done. You're ready to gift it or keep it for yourself or whatever. All right, we're all done. We stitched out the 5x7 mug rug today. I hope you enjoyed it and that you saw how easy this is to create on your embroidery machine. And if you're interested in the design, I'll put the link below the video and see you soon in another video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.